Welcome to Real Talk with Real Estate Pros, where we bring you exclusive interviews with the real estate experts. We'll delve deep into their journey to success and learn how to go the extra mile to serve their clients' wants and needs. Let's dive in. Here's your host, John Money McKinley.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Real Estate Pros. It's been a little while since we've been on the air. Have a lot of changes that have happened that I think are going to excite a lot of my viewers / listeners here. And today I really wanted to bring us a great show that has a lot of information about what we are looking at in the world of mortgages, interest rates, and finance. And I've got a very special guest who comes on typically once a month to help us with a lot of great insights from that region of things, along with credit. But I also just wanted to ask everybody here, please do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Really trying to grow this show and get the information out there so you guys are getting real-time, up-to-the-date information on what's happening in the world of mortgages, real estate, and finance from experts, not your television actors. And that's why we're always trying to bring you guests that really understand what's happening, because what's happening here in the Houston area is different than what's happening in the rest of the world, as well as all of what's happening around here in Texas. And we really like to have experts so you know what's happening in your own backyard. I also want to just give you people a little bit of information and updates. I have made a major move, and I have moved my license over to Planet Home Lending. We have some incredible things that are happening over here at Planet Home. I'm not going to get into all the details of that today. I will be having some upcoming shorts and short shows that will give you guys some updates, but I've never seen anything like this, and this is really going to help a lot of realtors as well as a lot of home buyers today. With all of that said, I would like to introduce today's special guest, credit expert and financial markets deep investigator, Mr. Greg West. How are you this morning?
Good, bud. How are you doing?
Would help if I unmuted you, sir. I'm sorry, Greg. Let me redo that again. Go ahead. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
Live shows, man. That's what happens.
Exactly. And then we've got another good associate of ours, the real estate expert, Mr. Brian Stavely, over there in the Lake Norman area. I think you know him.
Oh yeah. Yep. Got to meet him in person, actually.
Yep. And see what's going on in his area of the world. But with that said, I know it's been a little while, so is it safe to say the markets are still trudging forward, sir, and everything seems to be moving right along at the normal pace of where things should be going in the world today?
Yeah, despite all the crazy economic uncertainty, yeah. Markets, generally markets and economy don't correlate. You would think when you have a worse economy, the markets, but it's the other way around. People just looking for yield, moving money around. Money doesn't disappear, just moves from one place to another.
Exactly. And that's part of what we're here to do, to help you all so you can make sure we can try to move more money into us, the common working man's pockets. And because the wealthy always seem to find a way to keep putting it back in their pockets. But with that said, I want to start diving into some stories because we've got a lot of information going on here today. And this is something that I think will catch the eye of a lot of people here. I know we've been hearing with the Trump administration that there's a lot going on, especially here in Texas, to stop foreign buyers, particularly China, from being able to purchase property here? Well, according to this most recent article from the Scotsman's Guide, foreign buyers flock back to U.S. home market. Buyers from other countries accounted for $56 billion in home sales April 2024 and March of 2025. Foreign home buyers are coming back to the U.S. in a big way, according to a new report from the National Association of Realtors. The association found that foreign buyers bought $56 billion worth of existing homes in the U.S. between April 2024 and March 2025. That's a 33.2% increase from the previous 12-month period. International buyers bought a total of 78,100 properties, an increase of 44% from the year before, when 54,300 properties were purchased. It's also the first year-over-year increase since 2017. So that's, and this article goes on, and I encourage people, go ahead and definitely check out the full article. I don't want to turn this show into just reading news articles, but that's very, very interesting. And if we dive over here as well to the Daily Caller, we see that the Chinese buyers are grabbing up American homes as well. And they're talking the same thing. Between April 2024 and March 2025, Chinese investors snapped up nearly twice as many U.S. homes as they did in previous years, according to a new report from NAR. 83% surge in Chinese residential real estate purchases relative to the same period a year earlier, which
Of course, I wonder how much of that was before he started enacting all the Chinese for buying. Just curious.
That's
Because that wouldn't have started till this year, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's very interesting to see. And I don't know how it goes in your market, Greg, because you're hidden up there in the mountains of Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
In a secret base where you find out how the credit markets really work. But
that's right.
What we have noticed is there's a lot of investors that have come in, at least here in the Houston and surrounding areas. They will go in and they will buy up entire subdivisions and turn everything into a rental. Now, from the standpoint of the investor, it's actually a very good idea. And I remember when I first got involved in the world of real estate, I worked for a very successful real estate investor. We still do business to this day. And he asked me, he goes, John, what is the difference between an apartment complex and single family homes? And I started giving some description. He said, no, make it easier. Really look at it. The only difference between a single family home and a multifamily apartment complex is the space between your doors. I said, oh, okay. He goes, the way to do it is you just go in and buy subdivisions. And this was in the 90s, in the early to mid 90s. And now it's amazing to see investors are actually doing that and moving forward with that. The challenge that you deal with is it kind of affects the other surrounding subdivisions where homeowners are living, as well as there's one not far from where my house is, where there's a new home builder that's selling a lot of their properties to the same investor development group, but also selling it to people buying the homes to live in. So there's a lot of people buying their single family homes as homes to live in, and they're finding out that, we're stuck in a rental neighborhood. Which,
well, I know around here we're getting a lot of new development. And I think, is it D.R. Horton? Is that one of the big home? Yeah, they've stepped in, and there's people upset because we don't have the infrastructure for all these new buildings. But anyway.
Yeah, and I know when we were over there in North Carolina visiting with the real estate expert Brian Stavely over there and taking a look at, it seems like they were suffering from the same type of issue. The infrastructure wasn't in place to support the massive growth they've been having.
Yeah, that's the worry here.
And I think a lot of that has to do too with there's been a lot of movement during the pandemic where a lot of states, people were moving out of certain states to other states. And it seems that a lot of the more red states really got flooded with a lot of new population, which is, of course, affecting the infrastructure. And it takes time to get the roads up to date and get everything up to date to be able to handle a big influx of population.
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. All the roads are under construction. They put a Bucky's in 5 miles from our current city. And they actually, if you look at the city zoning, they put a little strip all south and made Bucky's part of the city. So they're going to grow this thing all the way down to there, I would say.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
hey, at least you've got a Bucky's close to your house now, Greg.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Texas, when you take a
200
road
pumps and stuff. Yeah.
when you take a road trip, you have to stop at a Bucky's. They'll give you signs. Bucky's 100 miles from here.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look. Let's dig into what's going on, because that's another thing we wanted to dive into is what's happening in the world of interest rates and our federal government, along with the nice boys at the feds. I know this may come as a surprise to people, but Trump again slams stupid U.S. Fed chairman over interest rate levels. The president's frequent attacks on Jerome Powell have sparked concerns about the independence of a central bank. United States President Donald Trump, stop that bothering me, has again attacked Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, stepping up his criticism that has sparked concerns over efforts to undermine the independence of the country's central banks. In remarks before religious figures at the White House on Monday, Trump called Powell a knucklehead and insisted that he should lower interest rates. He's a knucklehead. He's a stupid guy. He really is, Trump said, insisting that inflation is not currently a serious concern for the economy and the interest rate should have been brought down to 1%. I guess Mr. Trump doesn't go to the grocery store a lot, Mr. West.
I'd say he probably does not.
Okay.
Of course, that's not in the current inflation rate statistics. But anyway, that's another video for another time.
The U.S. president's frequent barbs and threats to replace Powell have previously spooked markets, wary of what some investors see as an effort to bring the central bank and crafting of monetary policy under greater political control. Because we both know, Mr. West, that the political side has never had any influence over what happens at the central banks around the world, do they?
Oh, no.
No.
But I saw this earlier, 21 minutes ago, but I didn't want to say anything because I knew that was coming up. But the stocks pumped a little today because apparently now, according to Yahoo, they're not planning to fire Powell. He basically just said he's doing a lousy job. I'm not talking about that more. And fortunately, we'll get to make a change in the next 8 months or so. So he's already reversed course on that.
So Mr. West is bringing us breaking news. Looks like my story was outdated a little bit.
Well, that's what. Well, we'll have some more stuff that was outdated. We were doing it just changed since last night. And we're not financial advisors here, but then also, and we've talked about this before. The rates are determined by treasuries and bonds, not Powell anyway, really. But anyway.
Exactly. And we're going to get into that more as we dig into deeper. But I'd like to get into what you wanted to talk about as well. We'll start off a little bit on the credit side of things, and then we'll dig deeper into the interest rate sides of things. You brought this to me from the nice folks at Fox Business News. Buy now, pay later loans will now impact American credit scores. This is something very, very, very important that people that need to understand is these buy now, pay later loans that they're withdrawing from your banks. That's starting to pop on the credit reports. And then also, too, There's a new FICO score model coming out, and that's something I wanted to bring up to you, Greg, is I would like in the very near future, within the next week or so, to have you back on and really talk about some of the differences that are happening, because we're going to be seeing a big change in how credit scores are done and evaluated, which could affect the ability for people to be able to buy homes as well as get a good interest rate.
Yeah, we did a show on that, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months ago or something about the FICO 10T and the
Hmm.
updates. But yeah, it's ever changing, of course. But yeah, the reason it's so important is mainly debt to income. You probably had this as well. If you get buying something online and you sign up for $50 a month for 4 months or whatever, now that's going to be part of your debt to income ratio when you're trying to get a home because they're going to see all that.
Well,
So
exactly.
you need to keep that in mind when you're messing with these type of loan programs.
Well, another thing I stress to my clients as well is a lot of these loan programs, they have it to where, okay, you're doing it and it's may not be showing up on your credit, but guess what? It's showing up on your bank statements because they're withdrawing it every month. When my underwriter sees that, or when I see it, we have to count that against your debt to income, because that is an obligation that you have, a monthly obligation. And we have to count that against your debt to income to properly factor in your ability to repay.
And if you have anybody trying to sell it as rebuilding, there are much better ways to rebuild credit than getting these little 3, 4 month loans.
Exactly. And that's why I always encourage people, if you want a credit consultation to get a much better idea and understanding of where you're at, that's why we have Mr. West. Mr. West and I have been working together, almost 30 years now, Greg?
I was thinking about that, at least 25. I can't remember exactly when in the 1990s it was, but
Yeah. I've
yeah.
known Mr. West and his wonderful wife for a long, long time. And Greg has always impressed me the way that he works with clients. Greg has the heart of a helper, the same as I do. He wants to help folks. He sits down with them, evaluates with them, and helps them put together a plan to get their credit back in order. There's a lot of shady credit companies out there, and I don't want to turn this into a stone throwing show, but you want to get with somebody who's going to take the time to really give you an explanation and understanding of what's going on with your credit and what needs to be done to get your credit up to a level to where you can get a good interest rate and be able to buy a home and get out of that renter's trap. And I want to jump into this. I know this has been coming up over and over again, the password breaches that seem to be popping up everywhere, and IT departments are freaking out because they're supposedly everybody's passwords are getting hacked. And this article is a very good article here that you gave me from Cyberscoop, talking about the 16 billion password breach story is a farce. Experts told Cyberscoop the research doesn't pass the sniff test and distracts from needed conversations around credential abuse and information stealers. Supposed experts and mainstream media actors have spent the past few days hyperventilating over reports of a colossal data breach that exposed more than 16 billion credentials, a level of theft that should have defenders clutching their pearls. That's just one inconvenient detail. The original report is curiously short of anything resembling actual evidence to support its sensational claim. Wait a minute,
Yeah.
Mr. West. Are are they trying to tell me that the media is using a spark of something and overhyping it?
100%. And actually, we were going to do this. We didn't get to do a show last month, so this is a little outdated, but that's what we were going to do last month because it was making so many headlines. And it's like the same one that happened in Florida. It's just, it gets people riled up, gets a lot of clicks with all your influencers. So they get, because their fear generates more clicks and income for those guys than anything else. Um, Greed would be second. But so yeah, I still felt it was relevant though. So when it happens again, people aren't in panic mode, and I'm gonna have to put together a little list of things that can you can do to basically protect yourself and not have to worry about all these alleged hacks or not. Because most hacks aren't really hacks. It's just you being dumb with your information in
Well,
most cases.
exactly. And let's do this and let me share with this. Here's your 7 ways to protect your financial online security. If you would please, Greg, go over this with us.
Yeah. Now some of these might be a little tedious, but I can 100% promise you, if your ID is stolen or if your stuff's getting hacked and their cards are out there, you're going to spend way more time cleaning up that mess than doing these 7 things. You can put the screen back up. Okay. One is use credit card for purchases. Now, the reason I say that is in most cases, when cards get compromised, it's usually through a vendor of some sort, and it's much easier to reverse charges on a credit card than it is a debit card through your bank. And with it, you can eventually get the money back through your bank with a debit card, but it's tied up for so long. And if you're tight on money, that's not a good thing to be happening to you. So I recommend I'll make all the credit card purchases. And then when the bills come due or even beforehand, just transfer the money from the bank to pay the card. It's just a simple way to uh, protect yourself, the money that's in your account already. Whereas credit cards, they'll reverse it right away while they investigate. You don't have to worry about the money being held up.
Yeah, your
Uh,
bank will not. Your bank will
oh,
let it
no.
sit out there. We've already sent the money. No, 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 no. We got to wait. And then if that merchant decides that they want to play games and take their sweet
Mhm.
time, you could be months. And if you're tight on money, that's not a good thing.
And and I'm saying allegedly on what I'm getting ready to say about Timu because I've heard some people love that app, some people hate it, and the ones that I've heard of that have been compromised is usually a debit card user. Just a little heads up. But again, I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying that's what I've seen with the clients that I have. All right. Number 2, change email passwords regularly. Pretty much anytime you have any account where you've lost your password or whatever, everything flows through your email. And you usually have to click some sort of a link to reestablish, to change the password, etc. So if your email password gets compromised, you're in trouble because they have access to everything that you've got. So I regularly change mine, usually every 6 months to a year. And whether it's needed or not, just because you never know, because they use the dark web a lot to scare people. Your stuff's on the dark web, blah, blah, blah. So just if you change them regularly, you don't have to worry about it. All right, third one, enable two-factor authentication. Most places have this, but I take it a step further. 2FA is where you log in and then they send you like a code through text right to your phone. Highly recommend any financial, whether it be your crypto exchanges, your Schwabs, your banks, anything that has to deal with that, and if they offer it a Google or any sort of other authenticator, highly recommend that. The reason why is because someone has to literally have their device in their hand, and when that code changes, that's the code you put in to have access to your account. That it changes, I think, every 30 seconds to a minute, a different code's generated on the Google Authenticator. So unless they physically have your stuff, they can't get to it. Now, I mentioned that because SIM swapping is a huge thing now, especially for those of you in the crypto. SIM swap is where someone, usually an insider with a cell phone company, gets your SIM card put into another phone. They have access to all your information so they can 2FA everything. And before you even figure out what's going on with your phone because it isn't working.
Well, and now a lot of things too now is the physical SIM cards are becoming a thing of the past, and now they're all
Yeah.
digital SIM cards, which
Mm-hmm.
leads to even more ability for stuff
Fraud.
to be
Yeah.
compromised. Because before, when you had SIM cards, you go in and get a new SIM card if you were having a problem, and they would shred that card, the old one, right there, and you'd have your new one, and everything would be fine. Unless somebody stole your phone or stole your SIM card, you were a lot more protected. Now with the virtual SIM cards, yeah, it's a whole different animal.
And that's why you, like a lot of scammers you'll be dealing with, they'll say things like you want to make sure you're a human. They'll send a code, and then those codes, that's what they're trying to do is get you to give them the codes because they're trying to access something. and get you to do it for them. But anyway, number 4, avoid clicking on suspicious links. This is pretty self-explanatory, but email, text, I don't care if you even have an account with the company. Do not click on anything inside of there. Always type in the address. Like I got an eBay notice about something I bought or whatever, and I knew it wasn't correct because it was sent to a different email address than I used with eBay, but it looked dead on like it was eBay.
Right.
So you just don't click on anything in a text or email. I don't care if you even just type in the information and go there if you want to log into the account.
Well, let me ask you this then. What about those wonderful ladies that are always sending me those messages on, hi, I keep getting you as a friend request. Do I know you?
No.
Are you telling me those are possible scams?
Yes. Probably fall under scam.
Okay. I'm just checking. I'm just trying to make sure. Complete security is what I'm after, sir.
This is probably one of the more tedious ones, but write passwords down on paper. I do this with every single one of mine. I've got about 120 different passwords I have to keep track of. So I basically just put it in by alphabetized, and whether it was a bank or an exchange or a credit card or whatever, Hulu, whatever. The reason I say this, so many people, and the young ones are the worst for this, is you put your passwords on notepads and stuff that are on your phones. Everybody takes all these things with like antivirus software and things for their computers, but they don't mess with their phones at all. And you're carrying a little computer around in your pocket. So if your computer or anything gets some sort of malware, phishware, Trojan horse, and they have access to your computer or your phone, and you've got all your passwords in a digital form on there, I mean, you're just asking for trouble. I don't even keep, like when Google or Chrome ask me, do I want to use this password and let them keep track of it? I don't even do that. My stuff is not out there.
That's the way it really needs to be. I know us crazy old timers, we still use those things. You know, we use these magical things here called pens, sir. And paper. I know it's crazy talk. And we write in
help you a lot.
We write in that cryptic language. I'm just going to give this as a hint for people out there.
Cursive.
It's called cursive, sir. The youth can't figure it out. Write all your passwords in cursive. They'll be going, can't figure out how to get his passwords now. It's like a magician. He's writing some strange language.
Beware of phishing attempts. I kind of went through this already. This is, again, people aren't normally hacked. If you click on that link in that phishing email, it looks dead on like Bank of America or whatever. And as soon as you put in username, password, it's a keylogger. They've got your information. You just gave it to them. So again, just don't click on any links, text, or email. Go there directly.
Then number
and as
7.
far as the last one is similar, verify requests for sensitive information. These are becoming very technical scams, especially if you have a Coinbase account. And I'll give you a personal example of mine after I explain this. But if you get anybody calling you, emailing you, texting you, saying, hey, this is so-and-so from the fraud department of whatever bank that you're a part of or whatever, do not talk to that person directly. Don't give them any information. If they get mad, you say, look, I don't know if this call is fraud itself. I'm going to call your actual fraud department and actually look up the number of the place that's calling you and call them directly.
That's a good thing, because sometimes your creditor, what you think is your creditor, will call you. Hey, we're noticing an unauthorized purchase here for $400 in New York.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you're just taking that extra step and you're picking up the phone. You pull out your credit card. It's the 800 number on the back. You call it. They'll verify. Hey, I'm calling to verify. Oh, yes, this is. And they'll verify that you're who you are. And that way, you know that you've been taken care of. And without having something fraudulent done to your card. Plus, 2, I would suspect if they're calling you and you're like, hey, I'm going to call in, they're probably already going to put your card, if they were legitimate, on hold anyways until you call in and get it resolved.
I'm going to give you a personal story of mine. It didn't get me, but it made me questioning things. I'm like, man, when, like, say a company's hacked and they say all they got was a email address, last name, username, whatever, phone number. So now whoever got that information, they think they know, oh, this guy's got a, I'll just use Bank of America as an example. This guy has a Bank of America account. Let's call him up, say it's a fraud alert. You have a Bank of America account, so you're like, oh man. And then you start giving them, they'll ask for social, date of birth, blah, 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 last transactions. And then you end up giving them more information than they already had. And they got you. So just be vigilant with this stuff. I know it's tedious, but it's way easier than spend the rest of your life proving that you're not opening accounts that belong. You're having to fight opening accounts that you didn't do, basically, because they have your information forever.
Well, exactly. Well, let's move on to this here and wrap up with the risk and rewards of the growing relationship between stable coin and the U.S. Treasury market. Stablecoin digital programmable representations of money that can cheaply settle payments in seconds have gained significant traction in the markets across the world, growing from 2 billion outstanding in 2019 to over 230 billion by the first quarter of 2025. By executive order, the Trump administration has signaled out stablecoin as the critical lever by which to enlarge U.S. dollar dominance and counter challenges from currency competitors like the Eurozone or China. Doesn't that sound safe, Mr. West? The stable coin. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's not that CBDC that we've all heard is so bad and evil. It's a stable coin. Don't you feel safe?
I do. I do.
Okay.
The reason I brought that to your attention, and I want to make this very clear, we're not financial advisors and we're not talking about what rates are doing, going down or up or whatever. But the reason I mentioned that, if farther down that article, there's a highlighted section that talks about how many treasuries Tether, the stable coin, has bought. They were the 7th largest buyer of U.S. treasuries last year. So what's going on, and as we've talked about before, generally when more treasuries are bought, that does help your yields go down, which would lower rates. That's one reason we're talking about this. There's been a lot of talk about the dollar losing its dominance with like the BRIC nations and whatever. So what we've got here is kind of a backdoor way for anybody who's going to be buying, say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, any sort of digital asset. The advantages of this for people that are unbanked is so huge, because what they're having people do is they can turn their country's fiat into a stable coin, and then they can literally send that anywhere in the world in under seconds to family members, pay bills, whatever. So it's a whole new system that's available 24/7 during non-banking hours. And so what it's going to do is going to have a lot of people entering into a space to buy stable coins, which makes them buy, in essence, de facto U.S. treasuries, which helps the U.S. dollar. So it's kind of a backdoor way for people to buy treasury, and they don't even know they're doing it.
Interesting. Yeah, there is a lot going on, and that's something I want to stress to everyone. I know everybody goes, well, if the Fed would just lower the rates, we'll be okay. Well, unfortunately, the rates that the Fed is lowering typically does not have that much of an effect on the long-term interest rates. It's the treasury market you need to look at. It's your 10-year bonds that you need to look at that's really going to show you what's going on. When the market is very unstable, typically, not every time, because there's been stuff that Greg and I have really been watching over the past couple of years that just floors both of us, going, with everything that's happening, this should lead the rates to drop, or this should lead the rates to rise. And it does the exact opposite, because there's a lot of other ways in which these treasuries and bonds get bought off record when they're wanting to kind of control what's happening with the long-term rates of things. If I was going to give my crystal ball on where I think rates are going to go over the next 6 to 8 to 12 months, I believe, and please keep in mind, I do not have a crystal ball. I cannot predict the future. This is just my speculation from what I'm seeing. I think we're going to continue to be on this nice little up and down roller coaster that is going to keep us right around the same levels for interest rates. You'll get a spot where you'll get a little bit of low in the rates and be able to pick up a little bit better interest rate. We'll also hit some spots where I have a little bit higher interest rate. I just don't think the markets are ready yet. The real estate market especially is ready for substantially lower long-term interest rates like most Americans are, because housing is becoming so unaffordable. With all of that said, something that I have really been noticing, and Greg, you and I have talked about this off the show here, there is a strong presence with FHA loans right now. They are offering, in my opinion, one of the best interest rate pricing out there. I'm able to do things with people on FHA loans because of a lot of changes that happened, and we're running past the top of the hour here, and I don't want to get into too much detail of this, but where before in the past I would have recommended that they go with a conventional loan, it is now more effective for them to go with an FHA loan, even having the private mortgage insurance that lasts the life of the loan. And one of the big reasons for that is ask yourself, Greg, how many people stay in a home for 30 years?
Very few.
Now, if we take that and go, nope, I'm staying in a home. I've been in my home for 25 years. That's fantastic. Is that the same mortgage you have on your home when you bought your home 25 years ago?
Probably not.
Exactly. So that's something to keep in mind as well. A lot of what you have to look at, and that's why it's so important that you sit down with a mortgage consultant like myself that's going to take the time to understand what you and your family are trying to accomplish. What are your current wants and needs, and what are your long-term plans? What are your long-term goals? I've had mortgage consultations with clients and looked at it and advised them, now is not the time for you to buy. This does not make sense for you if we look at the bigger picture. And it's helped them not get backed into a corner and get stuck with a piece of real estate. Real estate is one of the best in the world, in my opinion, investments that you can make. However, if you don't do it properly or you overextend yourself, that great asset becomes an albatross and hangs around your neck.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're not, if you have to be mobile.
Yeah. And we're noticing that now. We have noticed some more of the youth that's getting a little older now is starting to look more at going, oh, okay, we're getting done with our 20s now. Now we're looking at, hey, we want to be able to get something to call our own and maybe start building a family, which is nice to see. It's just starting to kind of get me a little nervous when I'm looking at people's birth dates going, wait a minute, my daughter was born before you were.
Well, I saw some stats where it's home ownership is getting older and older, almost 40s now before they get their first homes due to, well, affordability is the main issue. House is going up so fast, but wages are not.
And taxes and insurance.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I'd like to wrap up with this because this is something very important that goes back to what we were talking about with the Bitcoins as well as with the Federal Reserve. Go ahead and dig into this for us, Greg, please, on one of these things that was going to be voted on by the House. It went through the Senate.
Well, on an update, since it's already changed from last night, the House did not approve. So now basically they're going to, I think July 22nd is going to have another vote on it. but it's called the Genius Act appropriately because it is sinister genius, in my opinion. Basically, they're going to give private firms legal authority to issue stable coins. That would be things like banks, Federal Reserve banks, which are private firms. Most people think they're part of the government. They are not. So, in my opinion, they've just changed the word central bank digital currency to stablecoin. And there's a lot of advantages, like I talked about. Sending money instantly. You don't even have to be banked. You can get it's available 24/7. But also, we're talking about digital code here. The stuff can be programmed. Say they didn't like something you said, or somebody was on the wrong political side or whatever. Oh, your stable coin doesn't work with this transaction. There's ways they can program things, stop hoarding. I mean, it takes away a lot of financial freedom, but gives some people some they've never had access to. So it kind of depends how you look at it.
Okay.
All
Then
right.
the next
Clarity
one.
Act. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the next one here.
Oh, Clarity Act, and these are all three acts that are going. We're supposed to be voting on at the same time, but there's been a long running turf war between the SEC and the Commodities Exchange to who regulates cryptos or whatnot. And this Clarity Act is just going to make the final decision as to who owns what. Like anybody who's been in crypto, the XRP case has been going on for 3-4 years. They said it was a security, and then the judge said it's not. So now they're just working out a fine. It's just going to make it to where more innovation crypto companies may start here because they don't have to worry about the SEC suing them for something they didn't even know they were doing wrong. So,
okay. And then last but not least,
this is interesting to me. The Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act to block government-issued digital currencies and protect decentralized crypto. I kind of went over this with the Genius Act. It lets private firms, but most governments' fiat is created from Federal Reserve banks, which are private anyway. So I don't know if this is just a way to appease people so they think they're not getting a CBDC. I'm really not sure what the point of this surveillance thing is, unless it's the surveillance part they're focusing on and they're not going to do it in the beginning and then maybe they change it to where they allow surveillance later. I don't know. It's all kind of gaslighting to everybody. Look for something to piss people off. But it's coming, so you might as well accept it. There are some things you can do to get around it. I would recommend physical assets, gold, silver, Bitcoin, something that's not
lead.
Lead.
Whiskey.
There you go. Lead.
Whiskey.
Lead's good to protect your other, stuff like that.
I mean,
this isn't to promote Bitcoin or anything, but a lot of people don't understand it. Bitcoin's on a public ledger. It's a peer-to-peer program. I could send it to you. You could send it to me. The government can't ban it. It's absolutely impossible to do, regardless of what they say out there. And criminals don't usually use it because it can be traced. So anybody that says it's just criminal activity is lying to you too. The best thing to use for criminal activity is cash. Not that I say that, but that's actually untraceable. Bitcoin is not untraceable. But anyway, I'm going off the rails here. We'll finish up.
No. And look, you and I have had lots of off-show conversations about this. And the fiat currency, in our opinion, at least my opinion, is kind of coming to the end of its reign. It really is.
Yeah. They're going to have to go digital. Yeah.
And something new has to take its place. And they've been working and pushing with this. And the Trump administration has been a very big proponent, especially in this term. In the beginning, he wasn't, because I had people laugh at me. Oh, Trump doesn't want anything to do with that digital currency. He wants nothing to do with it. I'm like, keep watching. And then sure enough, him and his team are going to big meetings where they're talking about this and the changes we could be seeing in what's happening with the CBDC, or now as it's called, the safe and effective stablecoin. Mostly safe and effective, excuse me. Have to say mostly safe and effective, sir.
It's the boiling frog, man. And there's a little at a time, but it's coming fast. I'd say by 2030, we might be fully digital. We'll see. I don't know.
I like my cash. I still use cash to pay for a lot of my transactions and realize
Yeah. Yeah.
the youth can no longer do simple math. It's very, very,
No.
it's
Yeah.
it's very
It's
upsetting. They're like, here, how do you know how to do all that? I'm a wizard.
I'm a Jedi.
Exactly. You don't want to charge me for that meal. You want to upsize it for free. It hasn't worked yet for that one, Mr. West. Well, Greg, as always, I want to thank you for being here. I know we went a little bit long today, but we've had a lot of important stuff to go over and dig into, and I wanted to make sure we really were able to get into everything and give my audience a really good idea of what's happening. And Greg, I would, in the next week or two, I'll get with you off the air, and I want to dig into some more stuff with you, especially with the changing of the credit scoring models that are on the way of coming, so we can really share that information out there with people.
Yep. Sounds good.
All righty, my friend, I am going to put you back in the green room, so just sit tight, and I will say goodbye to the audience.
All right.
Would like to thank everybody for being here today. I really appreciate you all for supporting my show. And do me a favor, please like and subscribe. Pass this show around to folks, especially people that are thinking about buying or selling a home or even refinancing. We're trying to have more guests on this year as well. If you know somebody in the world of real estate and finances that are experts, please reach out to me. I'm here to help. I would love to talk with them and possibly have them on the show. But with all that said, until next week, you all have a great rest of the day and go and do everything you can to make the best of your lives. You all have a great rest of the week. Thank you.